Welcome again. We'll start with the second set for the IAS CSET paper 2 2017 examination. Now again first few questions here were passage. So all the 4 sets we would be doing, first few sets would be the passages. Now the first passage here talks about the air quality index, and it says that despite we are monitoring the air quality, we are demarcating the various standards. However, most of the metropolitans lie in the index of red or dangerous, and what one can do is merely ignore that. So based on that information, you have the following questions. What do you think would be the most rational inference? So the most rational inference would be that the air quality index is not helpful to the residents of the large cities. So C would be the correct answer. Next question talks about the productive jobs which are vital for growth and helps in the economic inclusion. So it says like agriculture has been shrinking over the years and there is a need to move to industry. Now in industry there are two kinds of jobs. So one job is in the unorganized sector with low income, little protection. The others are service jobs which have high productivity, but the growth in these sectors is low. So now this passage talks about what inference can you make. So we can definitely say that we must create condition for faster growth of productive services in order to ensure employment growth and inclusion. So that is something we can definitely comment on. So one would be, A would be the correct choice here. Now next question talks about the landscape approach to land use, and it says that the silvopastoral methods and the various eco-agricultural practices have improved the vegetation and has led to diversification, which has led to increase in the income. Now the passage has the following inferences. Which of these would be true? So the agriculture practices enhances biodiversity and can lead to increase in farm output and reduce the vulnerability to disaster. That is correct. However, some of the students got confused here with choice D. Choice D talks about yield. So it says improving diversification and income, but it does not talk about that higher yield would lead to higher income. So D would be the correct choice. Correct choice here would be A. The next question is the challenge for Indian manufacturing. Now again this is a kind of tricky question. So this statement is very important. In order to push the share of manufacturing in the overall GDP to projected 25%, Indian manufacturing needs to capture the global market, showing a rising trend in demand. So this is the key sentence based on which you can answer the passage. Now based on the passage you have the following statements, and the best inference is India should push up the public investment and the private investments in R&D and technology upgradation as mentioned in that line. So C would be the correct explanation. Now the next question is, this talks about the Indian food stocks, that India has increased the food productivity and the food stocks have increased. However, India has high number of undernourished population and the hunger level are increasing. So which of the following is the most logical corollary to the above passage? So it clearly marks that despite the high productivity, it's not reaching the people whom it is meant for. That means there is a problem in the supply chain. So increasing the efficiency of farm to fork value chain is necessary to reduce the poverty and malnutrition. So A would be the correct choice here. Now this statement is a kind of very simple statement, and here thread is considered as a binding force. So center, which is considered as thread, is a binding force for national integrity. So B would be the correct answer here. The next question, this passage is from the Putney debates, and Putney debates talks about formation of new constitution in England, and it says what would be the correct idea. So even the poorest must have the right in the government or the right to vote. That's the basic theme. So the statement argues with the fact the rules according to the consent of the governed. So B would be the correct answer here. Now next question, this is a very simple question on averages. So you have the 4 days average, that is 0.4 for 4 days, and then on the 5th and the 6th day you have 4x and 3x, and the total average of 6 days is 0.5 into 6. So you have 7x is equal to 3 minus 1.6. So x is equal to 1.4 divided by 7, which equal to 0.2. Now the rainfall on the fifth day was 4x. So 4 into 0.2, that is 0.8. So 0.8 would be the correct answer. So C would be the correct choice here. Now next question. This is again a very interesting question. You have certain facts given. Now whenever there is a question on analytical reasoning like this, it's best to start by forming a table first of all. The second important thing is enter all the information that is positive, that is in positive statement. So lecture from Kanpur is specialized in geography. So what we do is we create a table here. Okay, now we have the table of Kanpur, Shillong, Delhi, Hyderabad, Srinagar, Chennai and Mumbai lastly. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to understand by means of table, and whatever information is directly given we would jot that down. So if I start here, if I help you form another table, you have Kanpur with a specialty in geography, Shillong with D. So you enter Kanpur with geography, Shillong with D. Then you have F who specializes in commerce, belongs to Srinagar. So you have Srinagar, commerce and F. Then you have lecture G in statistics Chennai. So Chennai statistics G. Then you have all the positive statements first. Okay. So C from Delhi specializes in sociology. So Delhi sociology C. So all these entries are done. Now it says lecture A specializes in economics, does not belong to Hyderabad. So lecture A cannot be here. Now where can be lecture B? Again there is another information that is given. The lecture B specializes in neither history nor mathematics. So you have lecture B who would be neither history or maths. So history and maths here and here. So you have B here. So if you are having confusion, we can draw this again. So that would become much more easier. So let's say Kanpur, Shillong, Delhi, then you have Srinagar, Chennai and Mumbai. So the first information is Kanpur with geography, then D is from Shillong, then you have C from Delhi. So you have C from Delhi and specializes in sociology. Then you have lecture B, negative statements, just leave those out. So 4 and 5 we are leaving out for now. Now we have F who specializes in commerce, belong to Srinagar. So you have commerce and lecture F. Then you have lecture G in statistics Chennai. So that is statistics and that is lecture G. Now we are done with 7, we are done with this. We are done with 1, 2 and 3. Now 4 and 5. B, lecture A specializes in economics, does not belong to Hyderabad. So we have one more city that is left, that is Hyderabad. Now lecture C, where it is? Lecture A specializes in economics, does not belong to Hyderabad. So lecture A does not belong to Hyderabad and lecture A specializes in economics. So this cannot be lecture A again. So this is already D. So where can lecture A be? Lecture A can be here and this would be economics. So that's again fulfilled. Now lecture B specializes neither in history nor in maths. So lecture B specializes neither in history nor in mathematics. So the only option where lecture B can be would be here. Now who is left? A, B, C, D, E. So Hyderabad would be E and Shillong and Hyderabad would be either history or maths. We don't know. The information is not obvious. So history or maths. Now we have this table. Now coming on to the first question, who specializes in geography? So the person who specializes in geography is B. So that is directly answered. Now the next question, to which city the lecturer specialized in economics belong? So economics belongs to Mumbai and who belongs to Hyderabad? So Hyderabad who belongs is E and the subject we are unaware of. So this is the table with which you could answer all the 3 questions out here. So that is done. Now next question, in a school there are 5 teachers. Now this is a very direct question. You have to just write down the name of the teacher and the subject. So let's say A and B. So let's write the teachers like this: A, B, C, D and E. A teaches Hindi and English, B teaches Hindi and English, C and B teaches English and geography. So English and geography, B teaches geography, English was already there. D and A teach mathematics and Hindi, so Hindi and maths here. Then E and B teach history and French, so history and French and history and French. So who teaches the maximum number of subjects? So B teaches the maximum number of subjects, so B would be the answer here. Now next question, this is very interesting question. There are 2-digit numbers and the numbers are reversed. The larger of the two number digit is divided by the smaller number. What is the largest possible remainder? Now to solve a question like this, we have to take the units place of the smaller number with the highest digit. So let's say 9. Now we put the number 19 and we reverse it, that's 91. Now difference between 91 and 19 would yield you some number, but that number would be bigger than 19. Now since this number is bigger than 19, it would be again divisible by 19. So that could not be possible. So we have to bring down the difference between the two to the smallest, which is smaller than the smallest number. Now I do it 29 and 92, the same problem, the difference would be bigger than 29. If I do 39 and 93, again the same problem, the difference would be bigger than 39. However, if I do 94 and 49, the difference comes out to be 45. Now this 45 is the highest remainder, but again this is smaller than the smallest number 49, that means it is not divisible by 49. So if here what difference you would get, it could be further divided by 19. So therefore you would have 45 as the correct option here. So the largest possible remainder that could be yielded would be 45. Now the next question, the monthly income of X and Y are in the ratio 4:3 and the expense in the ratio 3:2. So income minus expense would give you saving. So in the first case it would be 4x minus, let's consider the expense as y. So 4x minus 3y would be 6000. Another equation, 3x minus 2y would give you 6000. Now since both of them are given 6000, I can say 4x minus 3y would be equal to 3x minus 2y. So x is equal to y. Now let me substitute y here. So I have 4x minus y and x are equal, so I can say 3x is equal to 6000. So x is equal to 6000. Now what is asked is the total income. To find out the total income is in the ratio 3:4. That means 3x plus 4x would be the total income. That is 7x, and 7 into x is 6000. So 7 into 6000 would give you 42,000. So the answer here would be 42,000. Now next question. This is a very interesting question and it's a kind of question where you require a little imagination. So we have a kind of 3-dimensional picture here to help you understand. So consider this to be a kind of corner of the ceiling. So let's take this as a house, a room, and this point would be considered as a point on the ceiling, and we have the diagram here. Now here what we are saying is, let this be the ceiling and this is the fly. What would happen is, you have the fly or the bee which is away from the point on the ceiling, the corner of the ceiling where the two dimensions, where all the three sides are meeting, and that distance is 9. So this line here would be 9. Again, when let's say the fly is somewhere hanging in between the air and the point vertically above it. So the point vertically above it, we have inverted it upside down. So the vertically point above it would be this line, and this point on both the surfaces. So one is this wall and another is this wall. On both these walls it would meet, and this distance let's say is 8 and this is 1. So again this would be 8 and this would be 1. So I can find out the hypotenuse for this. So the hypotenuse for this would be 8 square plus 1 square under root, that is 65 under root. Now this is the hypotenuse that comes here. So I rub this all and I get this triangle. This is again a right angle triangle, and you have under root 65 as one of the sides, x square as another side, and the hypotenuse of this new triangle now would be 9 square. So 65 under root square plus x square would give you 81, that's 9 square. So x square would be 81 minus 65, that's 16. So x would be 4. That means it is 4 meters away. So you have how many meters away is the fly from the ceiling? So fly is 4 meters away from the ceiling or down from the ceiling in between the space. Now this was a question on 3 dimensions, so it's very important that you have an intuition to understand it. So we have the diagram again here to help you understand the same concept. So this diagram again emphasizes the same thing. The detailed explanation would be there at doorstep. You can go there and see the stepwise solutions. Now next, you have the diagram that we are trying to draw here. So you have C to A, E to F. So these are all one-way directions that are made, and then you have the two-way directions that are made. So finally we come out with this diagram. Now with this diagram we can solve the question. The question says travelling from C to H, which one of the following stations must be passed? Now I want to travel from C and go on to H. So how will I go? All these paths are one way. However, A to E is two way. So I go here, then I go to E, then I go to H, I go to B, I go to F, I go to D, and then I come to H. So that's the way I could follow. Now in this path you would have CAE. So CAE and D and H, that would be again another path that could be followed. So in both of these paths, what is definitely coming is E. So either I go this way or I take another route and I go from CAE, then D and H. That's another way I can go. However, in both the routes, which of the station would must come is E. So E would be the answer here. Now next is, in how many different ways can I travel from F to A without passing through any station more than once? Now I want to travel from F to A. So first of all I will start from F and I want to travel to A. So that's the final destination. Now F to D is a two-way journey. So I travel here. Then I travel to from D I travel to E, from E directly to A. So that's the first route I take. Then I take another route, that is E, C and A. So that's another route that I have done here. Now this is through E. Now I would go through H. So that is this. So when I go through H, I go here. Then what can I do? I can go on to H and then go on to G. From G I can go on to C, and from C I can go on to A. So that's another route I can take. So you have this route that could be done. Now again another route that exists is from F to D to E, and then from E to G and G to C and C to A. So that's again another route that we can take. So these are the 4 routes that are possible. So when the question is how many routes are possible, the answer would be 4. And finally in the last question you have, if this path is closed, the GC path is closed, and you want to travel from H to C. So let me set it here again. And you want to travel from H to C, how would you travel? The path of G and C is closed. So from H I would have to go to G. Now this path is closed, so I cannot reach C directly. So I would have to go to B, from B to F, F to D, D to E and E to C. Now the question says which of the following would not fall in between? which of the following would not come in between? So the one that would not come in between is A. So in this path you do not see any A. So A would be the answer here. Now this was again a kind of question where you need to have a direct diagram and you can solve it. Now next, there are certain 2-digit numbers. The difference between the numbers and the one obtained by reversing it is always 27. Now how do we solve this? So you have, let the two digits be x and y the same way we did before. So 10x plus y would be the first digit minus 10y plus x, which would be the second digit, and this difference would be 27. Solving this, I get x minus y is equal to 3. That means the difference between the two digits is 3. Now what could be the digits? It could be 1, 4 and 4, 1. If I subtract 14 from 41, I get 27. So how many such digits could be made? So 14 and 41. Then I increase the two numbers, so it's 25 and 52, 36 and 63, 45 and 54, 54 and 45 already done. Then what would be there? So these are the ways you can make the various combinations. So here I did wrong. It was not 45, it would be 47. We are increasing one number, so it's 4, 5, 6 and 7. So 47 and 74. Then the next would be 57. Next number is 8. So 58 and 85 and 69 and 96. So these are the numbers that could be made. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 double. So 12. So 12 numbers could be made in all. So none of these would be the answer here. The correct answer would be 12. Now the last question for this set. What is the total number of digits printed if the book containing 150 pages is to be numbered from 1 to 150? So from 1 to 9, how many digits? 9 digits. 9 numbers, so 9 digits. From 10 to 99, you have 100 numbers. So how many digits? Each has 2 digits, 1s and 10s. So you have 200. And then from 100 till 150, you have 51 numbers, and each number has 3 digits, units, tens and hundreds. So 51 into 3 would be 153. So when you add 153 plus 200 plus 9, it would come to 162 plus 200. That would be 342. So 342 would be the correct answer here. So you would have 342 as the correct number. So that would be the, just a minute. You have 1 to 9, so there would be 9 digits. Then 10 to 99, my mistake. So you would have 90 numbers lying here. So 90 into 2, that's 180. Okay. Then you would have 100 to 151, that would be 51 numbers with 3 digits. So that would be 153. Now you have to add these, and the total would be 153 plus 9 plus 180. That would be 162 plus 180, and that would come to 342. So just to make sure, from 10 to 99, it won't be 100, it would be 90 numbers, and you would do 90 into 2. So that would be 180, not 200. So just rectify that, and you have 9 plus 180 plus 153. So the total would be 342. So with this we covered the set of the next 20 questions. We will be covering the further sets in the upcoming lectures. Stay tuned. Have a good day ahead.